The escape pod lurched so hard I slammed into the wall and apologized to it out of habit. That was how long I had been stuck on Gamma Outpost 7 before it exploded, long enough to develop emotional attachments to bulkheads. The sabotage blast had gutted the station in minutes, turning corridors I knew by heart into a collapsing maze of fire, sparks, and very rude alarm sirens. I had launched the pod with one engine coughing and the other sounding like it needed therapy. Drift was the best it. The pod spun through a drifting cloud of wreckage. A half-melted cafeteria sign clanged off the hull, reminding me I had skipped breakfast, which felt especially unfair now that doom was imminent. Every few seconds the life support panel blinked a soft red, which felt almost apologetic, as if saying, "You're running out of air, buddy, but gently." When the comm crackled to life, I almost kissed it. Instead, I shouted something heroic like, "Hello, please don't be another explosion." Static answered. Then a voice, smooth, faintly accented and clearly annoyed, replied, "Human vessel, stop spinning. You're making my sensors dizzy." The pod, of course, did not stop spinning. Through the cracked viewport, I saw a sleek vessel approach, elegant in a way human ships never managed unless built by someone who hated straight lines. It matched my tumbling rotation with irritating ease. A figure appeared behind its forward glass. A woman, human-like in shape but with long ears that angled back like streamlined antennae. She wore the expression of someone rescuing a creature she fully expected to bite her. A tractor beam snapped on, catching my pod like a claw machine grabbing a toy. The pod shuddered to a stop, and I found myself plastered against the harness as the alien ship reeled me in. The docking clamps latched with a soft thunk. A hatch opened, air hissed, and she appeared in the doorway, tall, composed, and giving me a look usually reserved for malfunctioning appliances. "You're lucky I was nearby," she said. "Your distress signal was mostly static, and one very dramatic scream." "That scream was tactical," I said. "It scared away danger." "One hopes." She stepped aside. "Come aboard before your pod decides to finish exploding." I climbed out, legs wobbling. Her ship's interior glowed with soft teal light that seemed designed to make visitors feel inadequate. She led me down a narrow passage, her long ears twitching occasionally, as if listening to the ship itself whispering. Every time they moved, I tried not to stare. I failed. "My name's Ryan," I offered. "Human soldier, recently unemployed by catastrophe." "Nira," she replied. "Scout, currently regretting answering your distress call." The ship jolted slightly as debris brushed its shields. Nira tapped a panel, and a holographic display bloomed into existence, showing the shattered remains of the station. She studied it with a frown that made her ears tilt forward. "You're fortunate," she said. "Had I arrived minutes later, you would have been another piece of floating scrap." "Glad to be upgraded from scrap to cargo," I said. "Do you offer dental?" She blinked at me. "Is that a human request for medical aid?" "It's a joke." She nodded seriously. "I will prepare a glossary." Despite myself, I laughed. It came out shaky but real. Maybe it was the relief of no longer free spinning toward death. Maybe it was the absurdity of having my life saved by someone whose people had spent the last decade threatening ours with orbital blockades. Or maybe it was the way her ship hummed around us like a calm heartbeat. Nira guided the vessel through the debris, weaving expertly. I tried not to flinch whenever something large scraped the shields. "Relax," she said without looking at me. "If the ship were in danger, my ears would stiffen." I glanced at them. "They look pretty stiff right now." "That is because you are talking." As replies went, it was devastatingly effective. For a moment the tension thinned, making space for a fragile kind of ease. And as we left the wreckage behind, I realized the strangest part. I trusted her, just enough but more than zero. Considering the circumstances, that was basically a miracle. She guided the ship beyond the expanding debris until the stars looked calm again. Only then did she let out a breath, soft enough to doubt I'd heard it. I thanked her anyway. "Save that," she said. I have not decided if rescuing you was logical. Most people feel that way, I said. I felt it immediately, she answered, though there was a hint of warmth hiding beneath the dryness. A small alarm chimed from below. Neera checked a panel. Your pod smeared radiation on my docking bay. You will clean it. Of course, I said. Do you have a mop for zero-G? We have tools, she replied. I will select one that teaches humility. Hard not to laugh. Neera insisted I clean the radiation smear immediately, which felt unfair considering I had just survived an explosion, but fairness was clearly not a standard feature of her species. She handed me a wand-like device with too many buttons and said, "Do not press the red one unless you wish to be temporarily bald." I stared at the wand, she stared at me, and the wand stared at no one because it was a wand, but the judgment was still implied. I promised not to press anything red. She didn't look convinced. While I worked in the docking bay, her ship hummed with strange harmonics, as though the walls themselves were gossiping about the human newcomer. The cleaning wand vibrated each time it detected contamination, and occasionally made a chirping noise that sounded suspiciously like laughter. I suspected Neera had said it to mock me. She didn't deny it when I asked. Her ears only twitched in a way that suggested she was enjoying herself. When I finished, she guided me to the bridge, where a constellation of holographic displays floated like drifting lanterns. One showed the debris field shrinking behind us. Another showed a map of nearby moons, each crowned with strange symbols. I pretended to understand them. Neera didn't pretend to believe me. "We are tracing the source of the sabotage," she said. "The blast pattern on your station was not designed to destroy. It was designed to send a message." "Well, the message was received," I said. "It said, 'Good luck breathing.'" "Unsubtle," she agreed, "which makes it suspicious." We entered a narrow corridor lined with panels. Neera opened one to reveal a cluster of crystalline nodes pulsing with soft light. When she adjusted them, the ship shifted course with a smoothness no human vessel could match. She moved with practiced precision, her long ears angling like living sensors. I watched, fascinated. "Do your ears actually control anything?" "They help with spatial resonance," she said, "and with detecting lies." I froze. "Do they react when someone lies?" "Yes." I waited for her ears to twitch. They didn't. "So you're saying I'm honest?" "I am saying you are a terrible liar." "They only react to skilled ones." "I'll take that as a compliment." It was, but the corners of her mouth threatened to lift, and that counted as a win. Once she finished adjusting the crystalline nodes, a new hollow appeared. A pulse signal drifting from a dead moon several sectors away. I squinted at it. "That looks like a beacon." "It is a concealed one. It activated shortly after your station exploded." Her voice lowered. "Someone wanted witnesses to find it. Us, or whoever investigated first. But we are closer and less likely to panic than your military." "I panic professionally," I said. "I'm highly trained." Her ears flicked again, as if calibrating themselves to my jokes. "You will maintain composure. If you faint, I am leaving you on the floor." "Understood." The ship accelerated with a deep resonance, slipping into a narrow pocket of sublight fold space. Colors elongated outside the viewport, streaking like brushed paint. I tried not to look awestruck. Neera noticed anyway. "Your kind rarely travels this way," she said. "Our ships don't like folding," I admitted. "Last time we tried, someone lost a shoe. Just one, still don't know how. Our ships do not lose clothing during transit." "You're missing out." This time she definitely tried not to smile. Hours, according to the ship's chronometer, passed with the gentle distortion of fold space humming around us. I rediscovered that fold space nausea was a universal experience, and Neera discovered that humans turn an interesting shade of gray-green. She handed me a small cube that dissolved on my tongue and instantly settled my stomach. "What was that?" I asked. "Medicinal root, also mildly hallucinogenic. Do not stare at the walls for the next hour." "The walls are breathing," I whispered. "That is you." When the ship slipped out of fold space, The dead moon filled the viewport, cratered, silent, surrounded by orbiting debris shaped with unsettling symmetry. Neera magnified it, revealing a web of metallic structures buried in shadow. "Those are not natural formations," she said. "I was afraid you'd say that." A signal spike hit the sensors, sharp, deliberate, rhythmic. Neera leaned forward, ears tilting. "It is transmitting in an old diplomatic code. Friendly, not even remotely." We approached cautiously. Neera maneuvered the ship into the shadow of a drifting rock, every motion silent and exact. I tried not to breathe loudly as though the moon might hear me. The beacon signal pulsed again. Then another signal followed, this one scrambled but familiar. I leaned in. "That's human tech." Neera nodded. "Modified, crude, sloppy." "Sounds like us, yes. It also means," she said, "that your station was not destroyed by my people. Someone wanted you to think so." My heart sank. A rogue faction, maybe, or someone trying to spark a new war. Either way, we had flown straight into their nest. Before I could respond, the ship shook violently. Something had locked onto our position. Neera slammed a hand against the controls, eyes sharp. "They found us," she said. "How?" My ears twitched moments before the impact. "So they do warn you. This is not the time for celebration." Another impact hit us. The ship rolled, alarms flaring, lights flickering. Neera steadied the craft with practiced grace. I clung to the nearest handle, trying not to fall onto anything that might explode. She met my eyes, calm but alert. "Prepare yourself. This will not be a simple escape." "Good," I said breathlessly. "Simple escapes are overrated." "Then you will enjoy what comes next," she said, dry, humor sharp as a blade. Just as the third impact hit, and the enemy revealed itself in the darkness. The third impact nearly rolled us upside down, and I grabbed the console so hard I was certain I left fingerprints in alien alloy. Neera brought the ship back under control with one sharp command and a flick of her ears that looked suspiciously irritated. Outside, metallic spheres drifted from the moon's shadow, small, fast, and bristling with antennae. They moved like sharks that had swapped water for vacuum and manners for hostility. "Recon drones," Neera said. "Old design, very illegal." "One of those sentences is comforting," I said. "Guess which one?" She launched a counterjammer burst, but the drones adapted instantly, their lights shifting to a hostile crimson. A beam shot past the viewport, too close for my comfort. I flinched. Neera didn't. I suspected her ears absorbed fear so she didn't have to. "We'll need to disable their control signal," she said. "The beacon is directing them." "Great," I said. "Let's poke the angry nest." She gave me a baton-shaped tool. "You will go to the auxiliary port and link this to the resonance node. Do not drop it. Do not lick it. And do not ask why I included that last rule. I didn't plan to. Humans always do something unexpected." I rushed to the auxiliary port as the ship shook again. The resonance node pulsed like a heartbeat. I connected the baton, sparks flaring, lights strobing. The ship's internal hum deepened. Neera's voice crackled through the speakers. "Good. Now stabilize the frequency. I'm a soldier, not a musician. Today you are both." I adjusted the settings until the hum leveled into a smooth vibration. The entire ship brightened. Neera activated the pulse, and a wave of energy rippled outward, bending space just enough to scramble the drone signals. Their movements faltered. Some spun in place, others drifted like confused balloons. "We did it!" I shouted. A moment later, one of the drones exploded, and I reconsidered my enthusiasm. With the drones disoriented, Neera steered straight toward the hidden structure on the moon's surface, a latticed array of metal spires arranged like a mechanical spiderweb. As we descended, the central chamber opened, revealing a cluster of machines mixing human tech and stolen alien components. I recognized the markings: renegades, a rogue human group infamous for conspiracy theories that never had the courtesy to be false. The beacon flared, sending out a final pulse. Neera reacted instantly. "They're calling reinforcements." "Then we break the beacon," I said. Efficient, dangerous, irrational. She paused, very human. She landed the ship beside the structure. We stepped out into thin, artificial gravity. The air smelled faintly metallic, like recycled breath run through a blender. The beacon towered above us, cables snaking everywhere. I expected guards. Instead, the system defended itself. Defense turrets blinked awake, rotating toward us. "Run," Neera said. We sprinted behind a column as bolts of plasma scorched the ground. Neera pulled a device from her belt, a small orb etched with shifting patterns. "Disruptor charge, short range, loud." "How loud?" "Do not worry, your hearing is already limited." She tossed it. The orb detonated in a ripple of collapsing sound, disabling the turrets long enough for us to sprint to the main console. I yanked open the panel. "I can shut it down." "You are certain?" "No," I said, "but I'm motivated." Working together, we rerouted power, severed connections, and overloaded the transmitter. The beacon whined, sparks flying. Neera grabbed my arm. "Back." We dove behind a support beam as the beacon overloaded with a blinding flash. When the light faded, the structure lay inert, its signal dead. We had stopped the sabotage chain. No new war. No more collapsing stations. I let out a breath I'd been holding since the explosion on Gamma Outpost. We did it. Neera's ears relaxed for the first time since I'd met her. "Yes, and surprisingly, you were helpful." That almost sounded like praise. "Do not get attached." "Too late," I said, then immediately regretted how honest that sounded. She didn't tease me. Instead, she looked at me for a long moment, her expression softer than I'd ever seen. "When I rescued you, I expected you to be fragile." "I am fragile." "Yes, but in inconvenient ways." We returned to the ship, leaving the ruined beacon behind. Once inside, Neera set a course for neutral space, the hum of the engine steady and comforting. I sank into the co-pilot seat. For the first time, she didn't shoo me away from it. "You have changed," she said after a quiet stretch. "When I first found you, you were chaotic." "I'm still chaotic." "Less so." Her ears angled forward. More focused, more calm, more aware of others. I hadn't realized it until she said it, but she was right. Somewhere between the explosion, the jokes she pretended not to enjoy, and the shared terror of angry drones, I'd stopped thinking only about survival. I wanted to protect more than myself. I wanted to protect her too. "Well," I said, "you've changed too." "In what way?" "You laugh now, on the inside, quietly, like it's a secret." Her ears flicked, betraying her. "Do not make assumptions." Too late again. The ship drifted into calm space, the stars opening around us like a quiet promise. The war between our peoples wasn't gone, but something new existed now, fragile, strange, unexpectedly hopeful. Neera leaned back in her seat, eyes half-lidded but alert. "Ryan." "Yeah. Next time you nearly die, try to do it somewhere less dramatic." "I'll consult the nearest explosion scheduler." Her ears twitched. A smile ghosted across her lips, brief, real. And in that small, impossible moment, with the universe finally silent around us, I knew the journey had changed me more than survival ever could.